Awesome. So, thank you so much for joining me tonight. My name is Michelle Noonan. I'm a team leader in Victoria. I have been with Feminix for this will be my 10th year in August. So, very excited. Still very excited for the product. I don't think that ever, for those of you who've got a Thermomix, you'll know what I mean. You'll still make things from time to time and go, did I actually make that easily? So, it's quite cool in that respect. I'm showcasing the TM7 tonight, so I've kind of left it open as we're focusing on lunchbox stuff, but we are obviously I'm showing the TM7. So any questions, please feel free to jump off mute and yell them out to me. I'm by myself on Zoom. I don't have anybody helping me tonight. So the chat box, I'll try and keep it open, but feel free to shout out if there's anything at all that you want to have a discussion about or a question that you might have. So as long as you got it on gallery view, we're all good to go. I did try. It's a funny Zoom that I've done, and I knew that it would come across very bitsy piecey. So hopefully it comes together all right for you tonight. I wanted just to show you a couple of things that I found intimidating before I ever did it. So things like coating your lamingtons, rolling scrolls, rolling bread rolls, and then I'm going to make a seared steak salad as well. So I've just released, if you haven't seen it already, feel free, or maybe I'll pop it in my follow-up email out to you all. I have put together a bit of a lunchbox planner for children and for adults as well, not just if you've got back to school. And not to say if you're an adult, you can't look at the back to school stuff and find something there by all means. But I've tried to put together a bit of a planner just to help with some tips and tricks. With anything where you're doing bulk cooking or planning, it can seem very overwhelming, but if you step it out, it's actually quite easy and it makes your life much easier for the next however long you've planned for. So you might just meal prep or lunch prep on a Sunday, but or like for me, I do it in the school holidays for the whole term from all of my children. So I'll calculate how many snacks I need for, there's 43 days in the first term. How many snacks do I need if I've got 3 children going? And then I look at the serving suggestions for each of the snacks and I make sure that it's usually 2 or 3 recipes, per kid. So you can break that up or smash it all out in one hit. Same with dinners, I do the same thing. I work out if there's one night or 2 nights a week where I don't have anybody to help me and the kids have got exercises, activities, things on that they have to attend, but I can't be home to cook dinner, I will cook those meals up. So last term I did 22 main meals for 5 of us. In the school holidays, I've got a very big deep freeze before anybody panics about that, that I've bought specifically for this. You don't have to do it that big, but you could just prep on a Sunday and make a couple of meals for the week, whatever suits you. So let's just get that right. Let's get started. So I just did realise, because we've just been chasing the puppy around, I just did realise I hadn't made the icing for the lamingtons. So I just did that very quickly. Because the majority of you that have signed in for tonight have all got Thermomixes. Now, there was nothing groundbreaking about making icing. It was literally the sugar, cocoa kind of situation. It's all step by step. So I just wanted to pre-do a few things to try and make it smooth. Hopefully it goes smooth. But yes, so what we might do first is I will get the seared steak salad going. Now, it's important to remember when you are using the Thermomix, it's got cookie dough and it's all got guided cooking and that's fabulous. However, if it's something that you don't like, you don't have to put it in unless it's a key ingredient. Please just make sure that it's something that can be subbed up. If you don't like onion, leave it out. Don't like garlic, leave it out. Don't like tomato, doesn't matter. Love tomato, put double in, go for it. So just have a look at the recipe and just see what suits you and your taste best. All right, so here's the seared steak and rocket salad. So we're just going to, on the TM7, you'll see it's got a really big screen. It's got the 10-inch screen, so it's like cooking off cookie dough on your iPad. It looks exactly the same as cookie dough. Earlier, when was it? Early last year. Oh, it feels weird saying last year. Cookie dough had a very big update and it all looked very different on your app, and that was in line with the TM7. So now they sync together. They look exactly the same. It's very smooth. So here you've got your overview, your ingredients, your preparation, your tips and more. Or you can just scroll down just like normal. It'll tell you what devices you need, how difficult it is, and there's all your steps that you can straight go into. There's even an area here for notes. So if you want to make some notes and keep them there for next time you make it, going the wrong way, then you can do that. It's also got your nutritional value and all of that sort of stuff down there. And it's also got some extra things here that it's kind of gone, all right, you're wanting to make that recipe. These are similar recipes that we think you might like if that's a recipe you like. I find that really, really useful for inspiration. Please don't forget that if you're not super used to cookie dough and you're not really fluent at it, please shout out. And I've got a tutorial I can send you. But make sure that you've got a folder going, like in a collection, where if you like something, you can pop it in there so that when you go to do your meal planning, all you're doing is opening your folders, all these collections, and choosing what you want to make from them. You're not looking at 14,000 recipes. You're looking at the scaled down version of your hot list that you've got ready to go. And I think that's really important with meal prep. Now, of course, it builds over time. So eventually you'll have a bigger collection. And at first it might be a bit smaller, but really good, especially if you see a recipe and you really want to make it, but you can't just yet, so you don't lose it. So here we've got oil. So 20 grams of oil. You'll see the picture here. I love it. I love the brand new way the scales is. It's a little thing sometimes. There we go. So 20 grams of olive oil. And you'll see when I hit 20 grams, or I don't know if you can see, it's hard with the brightness, it's ticked it off in green and done a little ding. So that's a cute little feature. And then onions. So it says to slice some onions next. And look, when it says onion, if it says 50 grams, and I have a really small onion or 100 grams, and it's a bit over, I put it in because I don't want to waste food and I love onions, so it doesn't matter. So again, these are the choices you can make. It's giving you a visual to put the lid on and not to throw the, like I just did. Now it's going to saute for 2 minutes. Now, this is just a standard to saute at 120 degrees. Later on, we are going to use the high heat version, which I would buy Thermomix time and time again just for the flavour difference when we do use the high heat. So for me, I rant on. My poor customers, they're probably like, gee, she must smell, because I love onion. I make onion all the time. In here, in the 7, you can actually brown without a recipe. So the TM6, we have to piggyback into a recipe or, a sauteed onion recipe and then make it from there. Whereas the 7, there is a mode that literally just says here, down here in the modes, browning. You click that, you say how long, you hit go, and it will brown. So for me, if I'm having a barbecue, I still do my onions here. I don't know if it's a suck night for dinner and it's hot dog night or something like that for fun, I'll still do my onions here. I like the flavour myself, and I think they've done a really good job by adding that extra mode. So on the TM7, you will see there are different modes. Some of the new ones is, obviously you could cook manually, but you don't have the selector like you do on the TM6. So there's a mode. You click it and you just toggle up and down, and there's shortcuts at the bottom. Pre-clean is the same as the 6, but if you've got a 5 or a 31, some of these might be very different. Dough mode, dough's dough. We've all had dough mode. It does stay put. It's very good at staying put on the bench. Browning, like I just said. Steaming. Steaming is great because you choose if you're going to use the Varoma or the simmer basket or both, and it'll help you out with how that steam is dispersed there. Turbo, we all know what turbo is if we're owners. Great for an aerated chop, something quick like a pulse. Great for getting any batter off your blades that might have been caught. So if you've made, I don't know, a dip or something and you've scraped out as much as you can get, when you turbo it and just zhuzh it for half a second, it flicks it all off the blades so you can scoop it out. And sometimes you get a whole nother patty cake from doing that. And then you've got egg boiler, which is very clever. I will click on that because the function's finished. I don't know if you can see my screen, but you can choose how you want your eggs done. At the moment, it's coming up with an error message because I've just cooked to say it's too hot. You cannot boil eggs at the moment because it's too hot. So another built-in safety feature, which is just amazing. Now, when you do get your TM7, you do get a full delivery briefing with your consultant so that they go through all this with you. I'm just touching base on those extra little bits. Open cooking is something different. It'll simmer away without the lid on up to 100 degrees. So if there's something you want to reduce or cook out a little bit more, I made a cranberry chutney the other day and accidentally slipped with the water. So it was a little bit too watery. So I just simmered it away without the lid on for another 10 minutes and it was perfect. And of course, you've got your graters, your peelers, your slicer, your spiralizer, and all of that. Now, if we go back to the recipe, so if I slide down from the top, I can see the recipe there. And it's telling me that we've done that. So we've sauteed those. I'm not going to stand over it like I did the last one. I did a zoom and I gassed myself out with the smell of a very, very spicy onion. All right, so now we're going to add the rosemary. I keep hitting that lid for some reason. So this is, anybody grow rosemary? It's super easy to grow. I've actually got it beside my basketball court because, like I said, I've got 3 sons. And with 3 sons comes great activity. But they also get into everything when they were little. So I needed something hardy that would be able to stand them beside this little basketball area. Now, what was funny was when somebody fell over or got pushed, they'd come inside crying and all I could smell was rosemary. So I knew exactly what had happened. It was very good. All right, it's saying please make sure the steak is evenly distributed. So I'll do that. Press next. Now it says 6 minutes. It's going to brown on 160 degrees intense. So this is what I'm talking about with the high heat. Meanwhile, follow the next step. So we press the play button and then we go next. And it says halve 120 cherry tomatoes and 40 grams of caper berries. Roughly tear 70 grams of rocket leaves, 1 avocado, and place in a large bowl, which I think I actually forgot to get out, but that's okay. I've got a smaller bowl here, that'll do. Another thing that I did do was we've got a little bit of a veggie patch going at the moment, so I've got homegrown lettuce. Feel very fancy for having homegrown lettuce, but I didn't get as much lettuce as I needed because I figured I'd just go and pick some more when I have the second serve of this in 2 days' time to bulk it back up with fresh. So this recipe has rocket, but you could use any lettuce that you prefer. If you are a plain Jane, and that's okay, you could put your iceberg in it. It doesn't really matter. If that's something that you like, you could, but it really does pair very well with the what I call the fancy lettuces. I'm not too much of an avocado fan. And after Christmas, I'm trying to budget out a little bit. So I'm literally just using whatever's in my fridge. Later on, I will probably cut up a cucumber and add it to it because I like cucumber. But you could add whatever you like to this. It is a salad after all. So that's ready for when we're finished. And we've got some tomatoes. We've been growing some tomatoes too. Oh, my battery, it says. But we've eaten them all, so you know, whatever. I haven't cut them in half. I don't think it really matters, but I will cut some in half. Anybody got veggie patches at the moment? Great time of year for it. I try and grow some of the herbs that are in the delivery briefings. So for those of you with dough mixers that have had your delivery briefings, you know, we make the vegetable stock paste. So I try and grow at least the sage and the rosemary. Basil's still little at the moment. And the parsley's still little as well. It's okay. All right, so this is, you can see here on the screen, it's got 4 minutes left and it's on intense. So let it do its thing. And then, so while it's doing that, we might move on. I'm just trying to make it, I don't want to bore you guys to death. I know Zoom can be tricky. Now, this caused a bit of a spill while I was chatting. I have the icing for the lamingtons, because this is quite a quick win to show you. Now, with this, I did forget to put the sponge in the freezer. So I only put it in not that long ago. But I do have, so I did a double batch of the sponge. So I just put some of it in the freezer. And I'll go grab that to show you. Now, I should say I didn't do a double batch. I did 2 batches because sponge cake can be quite fussy. So I was worried if I doubled it, A, you've got to be careful it's not too much liquid in the bowl. And B, I was concerned that I'd messed with the science of it just because of how finicky it can be. So excuse me, I can still hear, I can still speak. I'm just going to go grab that out of the freezer now because we'll have a go at that. All right. So I just put a couple of pieces in there. Admit another person. So if you wanted to be super beautiful, I said super, super edgy. So for me, I only put it on a wire cooling rack and probably for a minute too long, to be honest. So I've got these lumps in it. If you didn't want that, just slice that bit off. I wasn't too concerned because, to be honest, I've got teenagers eating it. They're hardly going to taste it, let alone know that there's bumps on it. So now, because that is now, can you see? Yep. Because that's frozen, no, it's supposed to be frozen, but it has gone harder and it's not sticky like, sponge cake normally is. So it depends how you are sensory-wise with this. And I probably didn't bring a cloth in. You can use 2 forks. You can use your hands. You can use skewers. Whatever floats your boat, whatever you are most comfortable with is how you can do this. Oh, that's okay, Danielle. Well, kind of jumping around a bit. So sorry. We're making the seared steak and rocket salad in the Thermomix. It's doing that. And I'm just going to show you how to coat lamingtons. So this is the sponge that I made earlier. I did 2 batches of that because I've got teenagers going to eat it tomorrow. I thought I'd do bigger pieces because for some reason that's probably 2 bites for a teenage boy. So when they were littler, I would have made them half the size. But then again, if you want to avoid, so if it's for adults, it doesn't really matter. If you've got children that bounce at the scent of too much sugar or whatever, you might like to make them a little bit smaller. So all you're doing is, however suits you, with your hands or with 2 forks. Now, I'm pretty sure I just used my fingers last time. I know I've used skewers before. So you're just dipping it around. But what's really important that I didn't do the first time, it was so funny. It was like a big chocolate mudslide. I didn't drain it enough after I dipped it in the chocolate. So then I shoved it in the coconut and it all just came off like a big mudslide. So just make sure that you just get as much of that as you can to drip off. Like I said, whatever suits you. If you want to get in and use your hands, you can. I just thought, probably should be delicate on Zoom. I'm not the tidiest person when I cook. But one thing, like think about when you're coating chicken and crumbing chicken or meat, how you do that is probably how you're going to be most comfortable doing this, unless, if you do want to use your hands. I know for me, I'll dip it in egg in one hand and I'll crumb it with the crumb in another hand. So the production line. And then you just pop it down there, and I'll just fix what I did then. I just slipped, of course, at the final hour. And then you can just make sure they're fully coated. So lamingtons are something I wanted to show you because they can go in the children or adult lunchbox. Also, they're delicious. They do look quite hard. I know the first time I made them, one of my cousins posted, I'm from Cairns, so yeah, and they're not fancy, my cousins. They're really not fancy. So one of them messaged me and was like, rubbish, you didn't make those. And I thought, I actually did. And she still to this day does not believe me that I've made them. So I took that as a compliment. There we go, done. Can you see that? Beautiful. And like I said, I know that's a huge lamington, but it's for teenagers and I've got my fingerprints in it. But just like that. Any questions? No? We're all good? So, and you just keep on going with that. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful. We'll move back to the seared steak salad now. like I said, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I just didn't want you sitting there watching me do the same thing about 18 times. That's not fun. All right, here we go. So the seared steak salad, you can see there's a little tick there to say, yep, we did that. We did that. We got our salad ready, and that's it. That is such a simple recipe, and it is delicious, right? So there you go. There's the seared steak with onion, some sauce, some juices there. Now I will take that out, add that to my stock. Like I said, be creative with your salad. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to add it in. Just remember also that I haven't put all of the lettuce in this bowl of mine because I want to pick it fresh from my garden for the second dish that I make. So it looks very, very, very beef heavy, but that's okay. Where are we? And I'll probably, to be honest, add some cucumber and some olives. Can you see that? And those of you who joined late, can you just make sure that you've got the gallery view on so you can see both of the screens? Thank you. Otherwise, you'll be confused. Yes, so who's going to make that one? It's delicious, I promise. So good. All right, I'm going to pop this over here for now and just move a few things. So I've been slowly renovating my kitchen, and I did my pantry first so that I could do Zooms here and shut these doors, and I have no idea what's happening out there because otherwise I've got an open plan house, and Zooms are very difficult when I had a child behind doing certain things or saying certain things. It was a bit tricky. So my first test drive in my pantry for my Zoom. All right, let's move that. And then I'll pop pictures up of all of the lamingtons done at the end on my group, Look Who's Mixing, which is on Facebook. Now, we're going to move on to the scrolls and rolls that have been nicely, look at that dough, it's definitely done. All right, so I'll move things around so you can see. So I pre-did the dough. Oh, I haven't used this mat on the wooden bench before because I've got stone benches out there. I wonder how that's going to, yeah. Because on the stone benches, if you've got one of these thermo mats, they're amazing for dough and pastry. Now, but on stone, you need to just give it a wipe just to dampen it slightly, and then it sticks to your bench, which is brilliant. So I was like, oh, hang on, let's see what happens. All right. So thermo mats, if you haven't seen one, they're in the mix shop. What's so good about them is they are silicone, but in the middle is fiberglass. So it keeps the warm or the cool in. So even when you're doing pastry and you've got to work fast before it gets too hot and warms up too much, then putting it in the fridge wrapped in your thermo mat, then getting it out to work it, the thermo mat will keep a little bit of that coolness in there. All right, so now just work that a little bit because I let it probe just a smidgy too long. Now, what did we make first? Let's do the scrolls and get the messy one out of the way. I say messy because, like I said, I can make a mess out of anything. I'm shocking. That's why I'm good at cleaning. I've had to learn. Now, I'm not a baker, but this is just how I've learned over the years to do this. Hopefully you can see it okay. Scrolls are something I make an awful lot of, and I actually said to a friend the other day, oh, surely people are sick of hearing about scrolls. But it's been a bit of time since I've showed it. So I thought, you know what, we've had a fair few people join the Facebook group since. I think we're up to, I'm very excited. I'm trying to get 5,000. I think we're at 4,050 or something like that. All right, now, just rolling that out. Now, scrolls again are something that you can make them as fancy or not as you like. And because of my lack of ability to get super organised, these ones, some of them are going to be a bit funny, but that's okay, just because of how I would normally do it. doing it a little bit different in terms of filling. So you can do simple. You can do Vegemite and cheese. You can do as creative as you like. You can be. Now the recipe for this actually don't use a scroll recipe. I really don't like it when scrolls are quite hard. You know how sometimes you do a pizza scroll and they're not even crispy, they're hard. I don't like that. I like them to be soft and fluffy. So I use the easy everyday white bread recipe. And I pretty much will prove it like I would the bread rolls. So I'll put a post up with a picture of this in it on the Facebook group once they're done much later, or even tomorrow. But this is a dough that I've made and I've proved it. I've given it its first proof. Now I'm going to put my toppings on it. Oh, someone else wants to join. I'm going to put my toppings on it and then I'm going to let it prove again. So toppings are here. I've just got bacon and cheese tonight. Super simple. Super, 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 super simple. There we go. Because my kids are a bit strange. They don't like Vegemite, but I'm a bit strange. I don't like it either. That's where they get it from. So Vegemite scrolls are really great and very affordable. So if you've got family that do eat them, I highly recommend it because it's a very cheap scroll. Scrolls at the bakery, I remember adding it up. I don't remember how many I made. I'll have to look it up. I made a couple of batches of scrolls and I think I worked it out. It was like $20 for me to make it. But if I hadn't bought it from the bakery, it would have cost me $84. So yeah, that's incentive enough to try and make them yourself. Now, what you want to do, and hopefully you can see that. Please, someone come off mute if you can't see or you need something else. Sorry. But what you want to do is really make sure this first. Someone says, hi. You good? Yep. So make sure you just curl it under on itself. The curl onto itself, curl onto itself. Just that first turn, curl onto itself, curl onto itself. And then you kind of feel like a bit like an octopus with too many hands because you keep curling it. So just keep going now. Don't be like me. I've just left all of that edge free, but that's okay. Just make sure that you don't when you do it. And you want to leave about an inch or a couple of centimetres at the end for it just to join up. So just try and tightly roll it. Now, it looks far more difficult than it actually is. And this is why I like to show it because honestly, it's not that hard. And then I just pinch it to get it to stick together as much as I can. And then another hot tip, if you have a look at it in the middle, if you make one in the middle super, super, super wide with the edges are not, then all you do is work it just like that. Just squeeze it out and just work it to be. And if the ends are too skinny, push them back in just like that so that they're all a very similar size. Now, when I make them, oh gosh, one of my sons loves onions. Not onions, sorry, olives. So some of them with him, I'll put olives and pineapple on. I'll make this and half I'll do olives and pineapple. A third, sorry for the noise. And the other 2/3 I'll just do bacon and cheese for the fussier ones. Now, I haven't got it with me, so I'm going to see if it works, but I usually like to use a serrated knife. But this is a sharp one, so it should be really okay. So just about, again, an inch, so a couple of centimetres. I like my scrolls to be thicker, so like that. And if you wanted them to be bigger scrolls, you just don't make it as wide. So I wasn't doing it this way because I'm in here with this bench top and it's new and I didn't want to, I'm not sure if it needs sealing yet, so I didn't want to roll my dough that way. But if I was at my stone bench, I would have rolled it that way more and that would have made a bigger scroll. So the more you go this way, the shallower the smaller the scroll. The more you go that deep and it's less this way, it'll be like Baker's Delight, the big ones. There we go. So just with a really super sharp knife. So when I make these, normally I would make them sort of Baker's Delight size. And then, yeah, just treating them like a bread roll, really. Now, there's another little tip too when we put them in the tray. I really advise you to use a high-sided tray, a deep tray. It just helps it stay soft and fluffy. Oops. Hope you're not hearing all those bangs every time I drop something. So I've just got just it's like a roasting dish. I use this thing for everything. I actually made the lamington in this earlier. What you want to do though is see how the ends are just there. If you put them on the tray like that, it'll just unroll. So you want to put them against, so tail to tail or tail to the next one, so that if it tries to unravel, it hits the next one and it can't. Otherwise, you'll end up with this big a snail-shaped scroll, which the kids still find hilarious. So that's the tip there, just to make them look a bit more fun, a bit more professional. So no tails to the outside, tails facing each other, if that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense. You guys are quite a bunch tonight. I'm just pinch them a bit more. And look, sometimes the tails still flick out a little bit, but it just helps you avoid it a little bit more. Now, the other thing I do now is I proof them again. So this is where I treat them like bread rolls. So I will prove them until, depends on your weather. I mean, you guys are from all over the country. Queenslanders, you won't be proving things for very long. WA, you either. Northern Territory. Victoria, depends on the minute to the hour to the day to the second. It all changes. But if it's a warmer day, then it's a great day for dough to prove quickly. If it's not a warm day, you just got to work at it a bit longer. So if it was a warm day in a warm climate, you probably only need 20 minutes, 30 minutes max. In Victoria, I know sometimes when it's cooler weather, I've let this do it for 45 minutes or an hour. So just gauge it by how big they get. So we really want them to touch each other. So you can see I've popped them in there almost on each other, probably a finger apart, if that helps you. High side means they rise up, not out, and they stay super fluffy. So when you break them apart, you actually get that little, when you get a bread roll from the bakery and you get that slither of beautiful soft bread when you break two rolls apart, you get that with this recipe because it's really fluffy. The other thing is it's more filling because it is more like a bread roll. Okay, so that's that. I'll let that sit over there, and again, I will put pictures up on Look Who's Mixing. So if you're not already on it, on Facebook, Look Who's Mixing Summer Mix Community. It's a page that I put a fair bit of effort into because I just want to really make sure everyone is as supported as they can be in their own time too, because I understand we've all got very busy lives and, it never ends, but you've got a few minutes to yourself if you want to learn something or you want to touch base and get some inspiration, then you've got that available. Now, you can use your spatula to cut dough as well, just like that. Easy peasy. Now, with your bread rolls, what I like to do is, so this is just a basic bread roll. When I'm making bread rolls, I do weigh them. They don't have to be exact, but I like them to be around about 100-ish grams. Now, you can do that by just swiping down on your Thermomix from the top on the TM7 and accessing your scales. You don't actually have to have your bowl in it for any model. You can just put a little plate at the bottom where your bowl goes, press your scales, pair it, and then put your dough on. You don't have to be using the Thermomix for that to happen. Now, I'm just going to get a bowl, and I'm not going to weigh it now, but I'm just going to show you. Again, we want them in the tray up against each other. So I've got this piece of dough here. I kind of work it to make sure there's no bubbles. You'll feel and hear a squeal sometimes. If you need a little bit of flour on your hands, you might, but this recipe is not usually too sticky. I kind of flatten it out a little bit like that. And then, bear with me. This is my analogy. You pull up the sides like a taco. It kind of looks like a taco there. And then you pull the edges up, and then you're kind of looking like a dumpling. And you just pinch and turn, just around like that. Okay? Now, making sure, I want a funny angle trying to show you this. Now, making sure it's all underneath, because any lines that you have on the top are going to be massive crevices once it's baked. So see here, there's this little line. When I bake that, that will be huge. So you can either give them a roll around, or you can just be a little bit more careful when you're rolling it out like I wasn't then. And then they just go in your, here, take one out. It would just go in the side just like your scroll does. And you want to put these almost hard up against each other as well, because you want them to prove up, not out. Now, let's do that again. Have I confused everyone? So just squeezing like a taco, corners in, pinch and turn, pinch and turn. And I know it looks like a hot mess, but I promise as long as that top is even, it comes out beautiful. And you just make sure all of that is underneath. So just like that, see? Cool. And then just sitting it down and popping it right beside the next one. Okay. Anybody got any questions? No? Everyone's quiet? Oh, lots of thumbs up. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for the interaction. I appreciate it. So I was trying really hard to keep it under your, get it done by 8 o'clock-ish tonight. One thing that I will show you though, if you would like to see it, was today I got delivery of the new ramekins. I haven't opened it yet. I thought, ooh, sorry. We know wall worker always, Ceramics are always working on stuff, right? I literally just ripped it out of the Australia Post box as I'm trying to come online tonight. Oh, and I thought, you know, let's get together. Let's have a look, see. So if you like to have a look at new things, let's have a look. I won't take too much of your time, but let's just see. So they've made these specifically for the Roma. Now, this is not a hard sales pitch. I have no idea when they're coming out of the mix shop. Just wanted to show you because it's exciting. They got little lids. How fun. Let's see. The other thing is with at the moment, if anybody's on the fence for a TM7, not quite sure, we do have a really cool recruitment offer at the moment. So with 4 sales in 90 days, you can earn your TM7. Normally it's 6 in 90, so that's quite cool. Ooh, okay. I feel like this is, as long as it's not too Lego to not like, I'll be right. Who loves Lego? I've got one son out there about to pull his hair out, trying to do Lego at the moment, and the other one is like a master at it. Talking cheese, it's funny, isn't it? All right. So they kind of etch into each other like a train, isn't it? They click in, not click in, but they just sit there. They're well wrapped, aren't they? They're not breaking in the post. All right.
Hi, Michelle. It's Danielle.
Hey, Danielle. How are you?
Good. What are they called and what do they use for? Sorry, it's a bit blurry, the sound.
Oh, is it? Oh, ramekins. So I haven't looked at the recipes hard yet, but for all those desserty type things. Just because, you know, we used to have the silicone, the dairy old mold. And I guess these are a lovely, and they were good. And I still think you can get those at the mix shop. I use them quite often for desserts. but the aroma being larger with the TM7, so it's 40% bigger than the TM6 one. So if you've got a TM31, it's like 60% bigger. Always my phone off for a second, sorry. Got any questions, please yell out. Oh, I saw your message there now, Danielle, sorry. But yeah, they look really good quality. But now I'll have to make something with them, huh? One more. Feel like I put these together wrong or something. I don't know, I'll have to look at a picture. There's also like an egg poaching kind of silicone insert coming, which is quite exciting. I don't know when that's coming either, but I understand you can do desserts and other things in that as well, not just eggs. There we go. Well, that's a bit fun, isn't it? Oh yeah, can you see that? Here maybe it might be better. This one. That's clever, isn't it? Ah, anyway, that was just me opening my mail with you. Now, in terms of planning, if it's something that you are stuck on in any way, shape, or form, feel free to join along on the group because I do have lots of tips and tricks. Just making sure. Yep. So I will. Do you want me to send you the lunchbox planner in the email? Feel free, yell out if you do, or put it on the comment on the post on Look Who's Mixing if you want me to send it to you. I can. But otherwise, look how professional they look. I'd love to see and hear how you guys go with this. So please come back to Look Who's Mixing and just post what you make and let me know that you're on the Zoom tonight and that you had a go at that. I absolutely love knowing that people have found some inspiration. Oh, Dorothy, so cute. Oh. Yes, all right. Well, that's it from me tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. As promised, I was trying to leave you be by 8 o'clock to continue with your night. But lovely to see you and thanks for the chat. Oh, double prove. Did I double prove? I proved it first, I shape it, and then I prove it, then I bake it. So yes. Yeah, and when I bake it, I don't need to put it in a cold oven because I've done the prove already. I find with the scrolls, doing the second prove and then just putting them in a warm oven was the best. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really have enjoyed showing you a few tips and tricks and hopefully some of the things are quite easy. They just look a little bit tricky sometimes. So anyway, take care and I'll see you on Look Who's Mixing soon.